Hello, everyone. This episode of Movie Club is beyond 1984. It's beyond 2001, beyond love, and beyond death. This is the Zardoz episode of Movie Club. It's not level, this shot. Look at that. I didn't realize it until we hit record. Look at that. Not a slope.
Wow.
Fuck.
It was a killer episode.
You know,
out the gate.
Well, just like the movie, there's some flaws.
What?
I'm gonna fix the flaws live IRL while you vamp.
Okay, I'm gonna vamp while this shot is being fixed. The gun is good. The penis is evil, which I've been saying. So as soon as this movie started, I was like, go off, Zardoz.
Zardoz, you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What a movie. Never heard of Zardoz. Believe it or not. I've not. This is the first time I've heard or seen it. This image behind us didn't. When Rocco's like, yeah, watching Zardoz, and I Googled it, and that was the first thing I saw. I was like, what the fuck is this movie? Mm-hmm. And now I know.
Well, I didn't know anything about the movie. I had seen that picture of Sean Connery multiple times in my life and was just like, what fucking movie is that? Heard that Sean Connery wanted to get away from his James Bond typecast. Like, he didn't want to be, typecast as just that.
Well done.
And he said, I want to get a role that is far from that as possible. And then the monkey paw curled.
Well, I also heard that he wasn't getting a lot of phone calls.
Yeah.
Like, after James Bond, he was James Bond, and that was it. And so he was kind of looking for work anywhere. Yeah. And he ended up doing this movie for less than his normal rate because he was just trying to get a job. He even stayed with the director at their house and paid the director's wife rent for food and board.
Wow.
While he was there filming this movie.
Damn.
Yeah. Crazy.
So very weird scenario here, but I didn't know anything about the movie itself. There was stuff around it. I never saw the movie. But then, as I mentioned last week, the New Beverly Theater in L.A. said, yo, midnight movie, we're playing Zardoz. It was like, all right, fuck it. Let's see what this is all about. And it was a faded 35 millimeter print. And boy, was this a treat to watch in a packed theater.
A packed theater for Zardoz. And what time was it? Midnight, you said?
Midnight.
What? Okay. Yeah. What was the crowd? Were there big Zardoz fans?
Yes.
Or?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
I don't know if it was sold out necessarily, but it was. There was a lot of people there. And this is a cult following movie. You know what I mean? It's just like when they showed Super Mario Brothers, the movie. It's not like that has high reviews, but it's got a cult following, Yeah. It's midnight, people are going to come out for it. So it was the same thing here.
What about this? Is it a cult classic? Not classic, a cult following. Like what?
I think this is my theory, is it's got, first of all, it's gone viral over the years. Early internet, I was seeing that image all the time. So it's gotten kind of viral and how just like, what the fuck is this? It's a weird, obscure movie. It's got all the things that make a cult classic. It's sci-fi. But I also will say, I think there's more to it than just like, he looks stupid. Haha. Like there is an attempt to tell a sci-fi story here. But it's done so eccentrically, it's so bizarre that I think there is something that draws people into it, where it's just like, oh man, what is this? Floating head, you know what I mean? It's not just him walking down the beach with a gun. It's got a lot more bizarre shit to it, and I just think it ropes people in that way.
I feel like there is a time in this world, and this was late 60s, 70s, early 70s, that did they just discover acid or what? Because I'm doing Record Club, and every time I get a record from this time frame, it's always like, what was happening here? Is this weird?
Yeah.
It was a weird time.
Yeah.
And this movie goes right in line with like, are you just, my thought is like, you are tripping and you're on drugs, but everything you think you're thinking of is like, I'm figuring out the universe. 'Cause, you know, your brain is not firing correctly, but you think it is. And you think you're trying to piece these things together or something.
Yeah, but keep in mind the movie, we kind of talked about this, I feel like on something just recently. Keep in mind the movie atmosphere at the time.
Yeah.
So 50s, everything was clean cut, go by the code.
It's like Elvis
do
surfing
this.
movies.
Yes. 60s, that kind of continued. You had shit start to shake up the status quo. Then what did you get in the late 60s? These sci-fi movies that, again, 2001 showed up, and it was, people forget, was kind of the first serious sci-fi movie. Like, in a way, you know, sci-fi prior to that was the saucer men from Mars. Oh, watch out as these Martians bring the mole people to the public. And you know what I mean? It was like that.
Yeah.
Then you had 2001 that's just like, fuck, this is what is, like, this is just like the evolution of man, or what is this? And then all of that started to break down, and you had the 70s, which is the era where people were really rebelling, and film got really a lot more risky. You know, you had people breaking all the rules. None of that clean cut shit survived. It was really a lot more wild. And so I just think this is born out of that. It's like, hey, we got James Bond, but look how he's dressed, and he's talking about sex stuff, and there's a little bit of sexual revolution shit happening here, and there, you know what I mean? It was everyone trying to be their most rebellious.
Yeah.
And so yeah, some of that is going to be comedic a little bit now, you know, of course.
Yeah.
But I think that's what's kind of interesting about it is so like, what were you on doing this? I don't even mean that. I don't even mean that in a drug way. I just mean like, you know what I mean? Like, what did you so badly want to achieve?
I mean, I kind of mean a drug way. There's definitely drugs involved in the making of this. There's no way around it. It's so weird because I always do like it when someone shoots for something. Like, hey, I'm gonna try something different.
Yeah.
I'm always on board with that, and I do feel like the general idea of this movie, the mythos, I can't say that word, mythos.
Tsushima.
Mythos. Mythos.
Mythology, whatever you want to say.
Mythos. Nope. Nope.
Mythothoop.
Yeah. But I feel like that is an interesting enough idea of different districts. It's kind of like a fucking Hunger Games shit.
Yes.
But before that, obviously.
Yes.
But it's like, yeah, it's like there's like the fancy ass people who are eternal.
Yes.
And they control everyone else.
Yes.
And there's a flying head.
Yes.
And they worship the head because they don't know anything better. There's interesting stuff at work here.
Yeah.
And I even feel like once we get into the movie and we get into the whole idea of like what's up in this perfect world and what's not so perfect, and now there's this sect that's kind of lost or whatever. Anyways, it's like there's something here. Yeah. But you were not able to tell that story to me at all. Yeah. You know.
I went into this movie just like, oh, it's a midnight movie. Look how this guy looks. We're just gonna laugh at this thing the whole time. And I laughed at a lot of it. It was a lot of fun seeing this in a theater.
Yeah.
But at the same time, kind of what you're saying, surprised. There's some world building.
There's world building.
Like, oh, okay. You kind of like, I'm admiring the creativity here.
Yeah.
You know, so I was surprised by that.
There are times
didn't expect that
where I feel like, because this movie is directed by John Boorman.
From the mind of John Krasinski. Oh, Boorman.
Written by John Boorman and produced by John Boorman.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe John Boorman had a little too much in, give someone
to tell him to
someone to maybe connect the dots.
Yeah.
Because right now we got a fucking splatter painting.
Yes.
We got Jackson Pollock.
Yeah.
And I need you to make it make sense to me because right now I don't,
But I will say, on the other hand, now whether he executed it well or not is another story. But I will say I kind of appreciated the avant-gardeness of this movie, because as soon as it starts, and I'm kind of getting into the plot, like, whatever, but
Yeah, you go ahead.
as soon as this movie starts, I'm seeing this dude with this funny head show up on screen. I am the great Zardoz, or whatever he fucking says. That he says this, and he sets up the story. This story may happen in the future. I am a magician, and I'm a god, a fake god. But and he says he says something to the effect of like, I'm invented, but like, aren't you too? Like, is God in show business too? Like, he kind of, as soon as this movie starts, I wasn't ready for that level of like kind of fourth wall a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, this is a stupid story. I'm a work of fiction, but what are you? Aren't you? What are we? And I'm like, all right, this is going to be great.
I mean,
can't wait.
It did start with that floating head.
Yeah.
And I was instantly like, I know this kind of movie.
I was laughing so hard as soon as it started.
You bet. Shot one.
It looked like a shot from an Aquabats video, or Aquabats episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you see, again, it really is fun watching old stuff like this and seeing what inspired things that you like. Because I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, Aquabats watched this.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. There's so many things that I've seen probably behind. Again, we talked about this with the Rock of Fire Explosion documentary. Mm-hmm. You saw some of the stuff in their shows.
Yeah.
They definitely watch this. There's things in it that you could. It's undeniable. Anyway,
it's funny that thinking of this Borman guy wanted to make Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And wasn't able to get that going.
Yeah.
And thank God. Can you imagine if there was a Lord of the Rings version of this? That would be insane.
Yeah.
Also, I'll say that Burt Reynolds was originally supposed to be the main character.
I could picture that more than
Sean Connery.
I can personally.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. I mean, Sean Connery is a weird choice for this. It has nothing to do with Sean Connery. He's fine for what it is, but they don't let him have a character, really.
Yeah, not really.
What's his name? Zed, I think.
Yes.
Like, Zed never had a shot to have a character arc. He is just a one-dimensional nothing character, and it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I felt just bad for Sean Connery.
Me too.
like they were like, this is so not his scene, and they're just shuttling him from thing to thing.
It's like, that's exactly right. I feel bad. I'm looking at this being like, I don't believe that James Bond, and he wants to get away from that, sure. I don't believe that he goes from James Bond to this. I don't think he's happy.
Yeah.
Like, he can't be looking at himself in the mirror wearing this, being like, all right. Like,
I did it.
He's probably a little bummed out looking at this. Like, this is, I also, when you direct anything or when you're a star in anything, you have to put your trust in the director. You've heard that 1,000 times. Mm-hmm. I wonder how far into the movie Sean Connery got before he went, oh no.
Or if he ever did. Maybe he was stoked.
I don't think he was. I think he has gone on record saying like he's not stoked about this movie. Yeah. But like, I feel like, was it the first shot we were talking about when it's that floating head? Was it being like, uh-oh? I don't know. There's a moment for sure where that he's like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know. We can go through the plot if you want. I am not going to be able to recall in order what happened because it is so convoluted.
Yeah, we'll kind of just skip around. I did feel like I saw this movie, and I did say when it was over, I was like, it would have been nice to have like the equivalent of game facts for this movie. But then I just think, but then the people I saw it with, I was told like it's not that complicated, and I was like, well, maybe not, but having all this at the first time all at once was, I was thinking about I was thinking about too many things to absorb every moment of it.
As a whole, it's not complicated.
Yeah.
It's about a guy who is in the wrong district, who's like one of the lowest ones, who has to kill people, sneaks onto this fucking spaceship, kills his own god, and then is now warped into like a land of the immortals.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the basic idea.
Yeah.
But once you get to the land and they discover like the people who are classes and people are voting like this, and then now this guy's half aged, and now it's like all of this is like now you're losing me. Like, how is this simple? This isn't simple. This is so complicated. I don't think anyone understands what it is, except for John Borman. He gets it.
He gets it.
I don't think there's another person on this planet who gets it though.
Well, okay, so we'll kind of just stumble through this. So we saw that we already mentioned the weird head at the beginning of the movie. The guy, the great Zardoz, says, you know, I'm a false god and a magician and whatever. I'm a work of fiction, but so are you. Blah blah blah. Whatever he says. It's the year 2293, and the world is basically in two groups: the Brutals and the Eternals. And the Brutals are kind of living harsh, violent lives in the outlands, and they're just kind of like killers. Like they're just
well, basically, it seems like they're exterminators. They kill everyone.
Yeah.
And don't make babies. That's why it's like guns are good, the penis is bad.
Yeah, the penis shoots seeds and makes new life to poison the earth with the plague of men.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a destructive society.
Yeah, so basically it's
go forth and kill.
Yeah, kill everyone you can because we don't want more people on the earth.
Yeah. Keeping everything in check. They have this giant head that floats in and out and shit, and they all kind of worship that, and it actually spews bullets and guns.
So many guns. And some of the effects, to its credit, I was like, that's a lot of guns this shot.
Yeah. No, I was like, damn, this is more artistic than I thought it was going to be.
How did they get all those guns to launch out of that mouth?
Yeah.
That's a lot of guns.
That was cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, that's it. We get a glimpse of that. Then we get they do the opening credits, blah, blah, blah. But when we come back to the opening credits, Zed, the Sean Connery's character, has stowed away in the floating head, which I thought, I was interested. I'm like, oh, we've already taken a turn. Within 5 minutes, this movie is, now he's catching a ride on this floating head to see what's up.
That was interesting to me.
Yeah.
Also, like the weird aesthetic of like people in saran wrap.
Yeah.
Trapped, like naked people just like trapped in like this fucking head. Like, what is this head? Who's in control of this?
Yeah.
You know, like there were things that I was like, okay, all right, this is weird.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So he rides he's riding in this head, whatever. He suddenly notices Arthur, the great whatever, the guy you saw at the beginning of the movie, great Zardoz, whatever. He sees him, oh shit, and instinctively shoots him.
Just kills him.
And the guy floats out of the head.
Which was so corny.
I was laughing so hard in the theater. And he says, without me, you are nothing. How pointless. And he falls out. Whatever.
Now, let me say, I think the casting of Zardoz was a misstep. I think that the guy who was Zardoz sucked.
Yeah.
And I think
I was laughing really hard.
I think that his costume sucked.
It felt like a 5th grade play.
It did. And they kept doing things. And it was like, you know what? That's exactly right, Rocco. A 5th grade play. And it was like the squiggly, Sharpied on facial hair. And there's a part later where you see Zardoz again, spoiler, but he has a little hat. It goes, and it's like, this looks stupid. Like, you look dumb. And I think maybe a different casting of Zardoz maybe it helped a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing's going to save this movie, but it would have helped.
Yeah.
Anyways, so he kills his god, Zardoz.
Yeah. The giant head lands where the Eternals live. They call it in a vortex. And they land there. It's like it's nice. They got like a farm going on there. Zed goes into like a house that's in there. He's looking around. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
Mm-hmm.
He hears a disembodied voice. It's coming from a ring. They got like their own Siri over there,
Yeah.
you know? What is this ring? You know, oh it's showing him like, which I thought this effect was kind of good when they would project stuff on the wall coming from the ring.
I thought so too.
That was like
and
a
then
good special
they were doing
effect.
it on the wall, also like their faces and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, how are they doing that? That was pretty.
Yeah.
That must be bright as
Yeah.
fuck.
No, that was
And
great.
really during the day projection is almost impossible.
Yeah. So there were, again, every now and then a little bit of impressive stuff. And he asks who lives at this place. It's that Arthur Zardoz, whatever. It's his place. That's where he lived. He's like, oh, okay, so this was landing here. Okay. And so Zed, he's hearing people outside. He's sneaking out. He's got this ring. Again, he can Hey Siri this fucking ring. So he's like, oh, what's that? Oh, it's a flower. Oh, okay. You know, all that kind of stuff. He meets a woman. I'm trying my best to like recall every, this in order. But he runs into some woman. He tries to shoot her, but she uses telepathy to blind him. And she's like, how did a brutal get into the vortex? According to the great Zardoz, that's where you go when you die. But no one there knows anything about dying because in this vortex, they're all eternal. Like they're all right. They're all like frozen at a certain age.
Yeah. But that's kind of like by choice, and they can take away that at any moment.
It's a whole fucked up society. Yeah.
But that's the thing, is like they try to explain that society to you, but they just
it's like okay.
It's like you're teaching me a new language, but you're only going to teach me the verbs. Like, oh, I need more to understand this language. Like sure, the verbs are important, but I also need the nouns. Yeah, I just need more to this to make sense of what's happening. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. Well, so the woman, they don't know what to do. Where's Arthur, again, the great Zardoz that all these brutals worship and stuff like that. Apparently, it was just this dude named Arthur Frayne.
Now, and I kind of was I didn't fully get. He was just a guy who lived there, right? He's just a dude. Bless you.
Sorry. The tabernacle. Again, this is so many layers to it. This is what I'm saying.
It's pretty simple.
Was a type of artificial intelligence that oversees all the activity in the vortex. They delegated this Arthur guy to be like the false god Zardoz, to lead over, like, okay, the brutals will look up to you and all that stuff. He was kind of like appointed to do that, and they used their technology to be like, oh no, there's a mad god, you must listen to him,
right?
So that was kind of how we got
to keep the brutals under control. They chose this guy to do that.
Yeah. As far as I know,
okay,
I may have that wrong.
I mean, I would say it's right. I don't know. Who fucking knows?
So this tabernacle thing shows that Arthur guy falling from the stone head, and they say that he died, but he's in the process of being reincarnated.
Right.
So don't worry about that till later.
You cannot die. If you're one of them, you cannot die.
Yeah, the Eternals cannot die.
You will be brought back eventually. Okay. Yes.
So they got, okay, well, what did the Zed dude? You fucked all this up. What's going on? Should we kill him? And this woman, May, is like, no, let's keep him alive so we can study him. He's the first brutal ever got in the vortex. Let's check this out. So they put it to a vote, blah, 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 blah. They hook him up to a thing. They could see his thoughts on the screen. They want to see his memories. They see his memories. They're not great memories.
If you want to see Sean Connery rape someone, you do have that opportunity in this movie. I was not prepared for that.
Yeah. So they check that out, and the Eternals have become kind of like apathetic and definitely like asexual. That's not a factor for them. So they're like, whoa.
They're like that, but they also don't seemingly. It's like fascinating to them.
Yeah.
They're watching this from his head, being like, ooh, look at this, interesting.
Yeah.
When they're seeing this like horrible footage.
Yeah, their perspective on it is totally skewed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. So then, but again, there's never a Sean Connery redemption arc in
Not
this.
really.
I don't get this movie, and honestly, I don't think it's worth fretting about. I need to give myself a break here because I was watching it, being like, trying to understand, okay, what am I missing? Okay, I'll figure this out.
Yeah.
I don't think it fucking matters.
Yeah.
I don't think this one matters. Yeah. So one girl wants to kill Sean Connery and just be done with it. The other girl doesn't, as you said, you save him. And it seems like, how long do they give him? 2 weeks to
3 weeks
to do an experiment?
Yeah, okay, we'll keep him alive a little longer. We'll vote to do that.
A little bit. And in the meantime, whatever. And then there's the guy with Friend. Is that his name?
Yes.
Friend is one of the dudes who's an eternal. Dude, there's a part that bothered me so much. It's so dumb, but Sean Connery is still seen as this animal to them.
Yeah.
And he whips Sean Connery in the back and then says, come on, move forward. We'll go faster.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you see his back, Sean Connery's back walking away, and it's there's no red welt. And I know that's not the biggest deal, but it's that's 2 seconds to fix that problem. There's no, he's fine. You just hit him there would be a mark at this point, and you didn't. Okay, you don't care. Okay, it's fine. Anyway, sorry, keep going.
No, so whatever. That guy Friend is kind of basically babysitting Zed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's like, yo, what? I was close buds with Arthur, Zardoz, whatever.
Yeah.
Where did he go? Whatever. And Zed is just like, no, I don't know. So they're working on stuff. They're organizing art for their archive. They're doing all kinds of stuff. What were you gonna say?
I'm gonna say they could get the footage from his brain. It made no sense why they wouldn't be able to figure out what happened to that Arthur guy.
Yeah.
They just go through his brain and figure it out in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And who cares? It didn't even matter that he killed him.
Yeah. They're by the way, also in this society, when they're working there and all that stuff, they see there are these there's a group of people called the Renegades. They are Eternals who have been punished, they did something wrong and they get punished by actually they're aged. Okay, we're gonna age you this many years.
You can't die, but you're always gonna be 90 or something.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah. And then there's another group called the Apathetics, which are they're just
zombies,
catatonic.
That part was
lost
weird.
the will to live, but they're unable to die.
The part where they introduce that to Zed, and then Sean Connery grabs that girl's boob was weird, and then throws her in the hay to assault her, and then stops, and I forget why he stops, but he stops. It's what?
Yeah.
What is this fucking movie, bro?
Friend tells Zed that this is the main reason the Brutals are forced to farm crops for Zardoz, because someone needs to feed these unproductive members of society, of the Eternal Society. No one in the Vortex can ever die. They're simply reincarnated by Tabernacle. So, okay. So anyway, Zed is, sees a trial happening. He's seeing all this shit happen. They're putting Zed on display too. They're showing him porn. They're basically
they do.
They're showing him stuff. They're like, all right, we're gonna test you out a little bit more. Let's show him some sexy shit.
They're trying to get him hard.
Yeah, they actually show at one point a drawing. They're like, we don't understand how this becomes this, and it's a limp dick and then an erect dick. The theater was dying during that, by the way. They're like, how does this happen?
So they start showing him porn.
Yeah,
and that doesn't do it.
He's like, nah. But then he looks at Consuela, and he's like, okay, well, that's kind of getting me. So so they put him in a cage. Been there.
It's funny.
One boner and you're locked up.
He gets his famous boner, and then it's almost like a wah wah, looking at she's looking at him, he's looking at her It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh dear Lord. Okay.
So May is analyzing Zed some more. He's all locked up. May is analyzing some more. She's like, "Oh, you're like a second or third generation mutant. Like you've got some like genetic stability, stuff like that. You might actually be you might be like evolutionary wise, you might be more superior to the Eternals." Yeah, and they said, Arthur Aka Zardoz was amusing himself out in the Outlands when he was like breeding certain brutals over the course of generations to make advanced humans like Zed. Like Zed is one of those.
He's advanced.
Yeah. I'm reading like some IMDb summary here to kind of like jog my memory because this didn't read
I'm
to
telling
me.
you, nothing
This didn't
read
read
to
to
me
me at all.
I can't even tell you the ending, which we will get to. I can tell you what I saw.
Yeah.
It means nothing to me, but I'll tell you,
Yeah. So, he was playing with that kind of stuff, doing some false evolution kind of stuff.
Right.
Toying with the brutals, stuff like that. Zed is just pissing everybody off. They're just like, this guy shouldn't be here, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, their friend is trying to he's kind of resisting this shit, and he's even kind of vocalizing that the vortex is bad.
Yes,
like,
he finally. I think people start admitting, like, hey, maybe it's not so great to be.
Yeah. Zed is kind of the mirror in which they kind of are seeing their reflection a little.
Right,
bit.
they're seeing that, being like, we're all bored.
It's changing status quo.
Everyone's
a little bit.
bored.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone, like, they're not interested in sex anymore. Maybe they were, but they've just done it for so many thousands of years. Like, yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
we've done it. I don't know. They don't care about anything. So they're all kind of the apathetic people, not just, they're not saying they're comatose, but they're essentially all apathetic.
Well, so friend gets like pulled aside for that, and is just like, "Yo, why are you acting like that?" So Zed like goes to the renegade colony to find him, and he's been artificially aged. He's all fucked up.
Now, I feel like he was like Two-Faced aged, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like half of his face.
Maybe they didn't go all the way. Yeah.
Yeah, they chickened out or something. I don't know what that means.
So does friend say that they should get rid of Zed?
I don't think so. Maybe
he revolts against them or something.
It's so fucking convoluted. Consuela,
that like Zed brought death to them, basically.
Maybe he blames him for being older, but I don't even remember because it's so convoluted. Consuela was the one who was always against Zed.
Yeah,
and she always was like leading the charge, like, get rid of this fucking guy. Like, he's not important. Friend may have gone over. I don't remember. It's them going into like these weird rooms of like the crystal room.
Yeah.
And oh God, I don't know how to describe this movie because nothing makes sense. It's just a series of abstract paintings essentially that you're looking at, and it's like
it was hard to crack.
You're talking about the tabernacle. You're talking about fucking the part where they're all going to kill him, and then he reverses time, and then like they don't want to. What?
Well, okay, we'll handle this a step at a time here. So Zed finds friend, and is like, "Yo, we need to like destroy. This is a shit show. We need to destroy Tabernacle if that's what's running the fucking place.
Right?
How do I destroy it?" And friend is like going senile, but he said like May will know. May's doing her like second level meditation. I guess they do that instead of sleeping or something like that. So he said, okay, well, if what happens now? When
the funniest
he goes to May to what were you gonna say?
I would say the funniest thing to me is I just watched this movie. Like, theoretically, I should be able to tell you, well, I just saw it. It's like, but I just saw it, and it went right through me. I have no idea what happens next.
So he reaches out he finally finds May, and he's like, he wants the truth on Tabernacle, all that stuff. Well, you got to give truth to get it. Okay, so he allows her to read his mind. He lets go, and she gets to see Zed hunting and killing Brutals.
Mm-hmm.
And he follows someone follows a figure in a mask who leads him in a library, who begins to teach Zed to read. So Zed, his intellect is more advanced than the Eternals, truthfully. And he learns about the history of the world before its destruction. Now, this is what is I'm going to give major props to this part.
Okay.
Zed reads a book called The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, which reveals to him the fictitious basis of Zardoz, a deity invented by Arthur to control the Brutals. Now, when they're doing this, they show the book in which Zardoz is looking at, and he gets his name from, it shows The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, and he's just barely can read ability, illiterate, whatever you want to call it, barely literate ability. They are looking at the ends of the words. Wizard of Oz, Zard Oz.
The shot of him putting his finger over the of to make it say Zardoz, my eyes must have rolled into the back of my brain. I was like, you fuck off. You've got to be kidding
This
me.
almost got a standing ovation in that theater. It hit that part, and you heard everyone go, "Oh, come on!" That made it worth buying the ticket to go to this.
That moment,
we were laughing. Everyone in that theater was howling.
I mean,
actually, I'm really not exaggerating. It wasn't actually a standing ovation. I'm saying that.
Yeah.
What it really was. Everyone started, you heard people go, and everyone started laughing, and it turned into straight up full applause in the theater. No joke. It was so fun.
Oh, I bet it sounds like this is a fun movie. I'm sure to see in a.
It was so fucking funny
to watch it by myself on my laptop.
Yeah,
it was a sad experience, but I'm glad that you had a good time with. That sounds more fun than what I did. Yeah.
So Zed learned that Zardoz did not exist. He hid. That we're getting this backstory. He hid on the Stonehead to make his way into the vortex to find the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we finally got to see what got him.
You also find out, he was educated. Like, he is smart.
Yeah. That's what put Zed above the rest.
Right.
And then they have this whole thing exchanging each other's memories. May gets all horny for Zed now. Okay, what's going on
Don't
there?
get that, but that was weird.
That gets interrupted by Consuela, who accuses May of bestiality. Another huge laugh in the theater.
Uh-huh.
I know what this is. Bestiality. And we were all dying laughing. And they want to age May 50 years. They blind Zed with telepathy, but he still manages to get out of there. Whatever. So now they're against Zed. They're trying to bring him down.
Mm-hmm.
But they acknowledge one of the Eternals is like, Zed is like the one. He's
Neo.
the liberator. He is a better dressed Neo.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They don't want another Dark Age, and they think it's coming. They've been trying to stave that off.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they had to turn their back on humanity, blah, 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 blah. So Zed is considered like he's going to ruin the thing that we have. He, I believe, what happens that they get is attacked by other Eternals?
Isn't this the part where he they're in this place. The Eternals have like pitchforks and like torches essentially.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
go to they start destroying all their statues and all of their shit. For some reason,
they're
lost their mind.
revolting. But then the exterminators that are outside, Zed runs out to the periphery shield of the vortex and starts to instruct them on how to attack, basically. And they storm the vortex. But I can't remember how they got in. I can't remember that.
Dude.
How they got through.
I think they just walked right in. I don't think it was some like crazy thing.
Yeah, I don't remember if there was like, they break the fucking force field or something. I don't remember that at all.
I think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, but anyway, so they're in and they're just causing havoc.
Mm-hmm.
They're running amok. They're all attacking. Blah blah blah. Whatever. May asks Zed to inseminate them all.
That's right.
And then they will know. And they want to use his knowledge and everything to destroy the tabernacle. They teach him through osmosis, and he returns the favor with his super sperm.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he asks how the vortex came about. They said it was designed by scientists that were middle-aged at the time that they did that, and now they're renegades through their inability to tolerate immortality. But they use their power to erase any memory of the tabernacle or how to destroy it so that the human race would evolve to perfection. And yeah, they were supposed to have children to inherit the legacy, but by eliminating death, the natural cycle of things everything went stagnant. They're just in a hopeless stasis.
I also want to point out that throughout the movie, you see the force field. Yeah, he is waving to his friends on the other side of the force field, right?
Yeah.
Zed is.
Yeah.
But I never understood how they even got to the force field. How did they get there?
Yeah, I don't know. Like
They never
he
tell
flew
you.
up in the head.
That
and
makes
stuff.
sense.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't think they tell you. I think they're just there. I don't know.
Well, Zed starts to hear a voice, and guess what? Arthur Frayne, aka Zardoz, he's back.
Ugh,
He does a little I Am Lazarus poem. It's kind of fun. Whoops, knocked Yoda over. And he's got a mysterious glass ball, he says, to examine. He says, look at this. And Zed asks, yo, where's the tabernacle? And Zed realizes, it's in the crystal I hold in my hand. Okay, it's in this crystal. That's what it was. No one was they were not permitted to tell me because all of that has been erased from this civilization. But I'm figuring it out. It's in this crystal. Okay, so then I don't even remember what happened here. Like, he goes in the crystal.
Yeah, he does.
He sees holographic images of the Eternals. Didn't he see himself at one point?
Yeah, he did. And then he shot himself. He's wearing the mask.
Yeah.
He's wearing his own like exterminator mask. He shoots himself. Then
That's
he
right.
kills himself, but he's not dead.
Yeah. And so anyway, he goes through that. The Eternals are rampaging through their archive, destroying all the art and doing all that stuff. Zed now has like a powerful aura. He's like defeating Tabernacle.
Mm-hmm.
And Tabernacle is connected to everything. Zed is really the one. Like this may have inspired the Matrix, because now he's in control and he's got a powerful aura. He's like stopping the Eternals. Like, stop.
There definitely is some Matrix vibes in this. A little bit Neo shit.
Yeah.
For real. Yeah.
So he's doing all that. And so he then Friend is like, oh, now what? And Zed's like, well, let's talk to the oldest renegade. They'll know what to do. And the oldest man there, he says, the vortex is it's a slight against nature. That's why nature made Zed. Like you're a response to that.
Mm-hmm.
The old man dies. The stonehead crashes to the ground. Death has returned to the vortex. And May and all of the Zed's baby mamas all leave the vortex to start somewhere else.
Right.
The renegades are dying of old age. This was cracking me up because this scene that happens here felt like Gamer Wars 4 or 5.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Where it's just like everyone at a party like dying,
Yeah.
getting shot. Like all these whatever the fucking bad guys are called are running through just shooting people, and people are like stoked.
You're like, kill me.
They're
Me
like,
next.
oh, me too, me too. Okay. The exterminators are just running through. Bang. Yeah. Oh, me too. I'd like to die. Okay, thanks. Like, I was dying. This was a scene that no one in the theater was laughing at this point.
But you.
I was the one
Uh-oh.
quiet theater watching this and one guy going, ha, 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 ha. Now, I should also say, in the last 40 minutes or so of this movie, dude, some guy showed up so late to this movie. And at the New Beverly Theater up front, they give you a fucking long speech about if you talk, if you're on your phone, you are lifetime banned from this theater. Not even like, oh, please leave. It is, you cannot buy tickets here anymore.
Wow.
And someone was not there for that and showed up like halfway through the movie. And during this whole part, they were riffing, and it was like, shut the fuck up. I mean, it was bloodthirst in that theater. Like, this guy's not getting it. He's checking his phone. Is this thing 3 hours? Is it? I mean, it was like, we're gonna beat the shit out of you when this movie's over, just so you know. And it's Zardoz. Like a man's about to die.
Zardoz for me.
It was like, I'm gonna fucking punch you in the throat if you keep doing that.
Oh my God.
Why is he dressed like that? I'll fucking stab you. Just so you know, it's Zardoz.
Zardoz.
Anyway, these people getting shot was making me laugh so hard.
What happened with the guy? Did they kick him out?
With what?
The guy talking at the theater.
Oh. No, the movie ended. He ended and everyone was just pissed at the guy. But he didn't do that till the end. So but it was like, yo, fuck you.
He didn't get a lifetime ban.
No, we were bummed about that.
Damn.
He just did it at the end. So everyone in the theater just wanted to kill him.
Sure.
Anyway, yeah, so everyone's getting shot. It's really funny. Sorry, to me anyway.
I mean, it wasn't gory. It was like the cheesiest ketchup effect ever.
Absolutely. Zed runs away with Consuela to take shelter in the remains of that big stone head.
Okay. Now explain this part to me.
Okay. I'm looking at IMDb. And I'm going to try to read what they got.
Read it.
Beethoven's 7th Symphony. By the way, the ending for this was like fucking me up on every level because already it's bizarre, but then they're playing Beethoven's 7th Symphony, which I know this is going to sound like a left turn. It's the music they play. My memory of it is in the documentary about Ren and Stimpy. They play this song when it gets into John Kay and his sexual advances to minors.
No.
So they start playing that song, and I'm like, what is going on?
Man, they ruined the Beethoven 7th Symphony.
Yeah. So already I'm like, they start playing this as the vortex falls, and in the head, Zed is with Consuela.
Yep.
She's pregnant and gives birth. The child grows into a man and leaves the parents as Zed and Consuela grow old together and die. Is this happening in real time? I don't know if what we're seeing is meant to be symbolic. Like, look, they all grew, they actually accepted aging and they got old and they died and they're skeletons together. Or if this is happening rapid, I'm not clear on that.
You don't say. Oh, wow. Yeah, because it makes no fucking sense. Also, it really didn't make sense that Consuela ended up with him. She hated him the whole fucking time. Yeah. And all of a sudden, it was like, oh, no, I'm loving you.
But she loved what he represented maybe more, you know?
And so it's now, although I have a fun fact about this. They had to shoot that part 3 different times. It kept getting fucked up, the ending part. They had to keep shooting that because one time an PA or someone opened up the film reel and it exposed all the film after they shot the whole thing. One other time, I think the negatives were just fucked up to begin with.
Yeah.
So it took so long to get them in that makeup and shoot it that both Sean Connery and the girl who was Consuelo were fucking pissed.
Okay, this makes perfect sense. I was literally going to say this next. I was going to say, this is the part of the movie to me that Sean Connery, through his expression or just his aura, was exuding, I don't want to do this energy. Like, I remember seeing him in the time lapse of him getting older. I'm looking at him like, he is not into this.
No.
He's visually not into this. And knowing that, oh my God, I have a sixth sense. I know it. Now I can, well, it doesn't take much to sense that, I guess.
You knew it.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So the movie ends with two skeletons sitting there together. And then it ends as if that left you with a message and now you understand the universe. So Rocco, you're not going to believe this, but Zardoz was not a huge hit.
What?
It was kind of panned by critics and moviegoers alike.
Critics.
To the point where there were reports people would see Zardoz, go out into the movie theater lobby, find people who are going to buy tickets to Zardoz and said, do not buy tickets for this movie. You need to go home or go see something else.
Well, they sound like whiners.
And then people listened, and they said that a lot of people were turned away at the box office by other people who saw Zardoz and felt pissed about it. So that says something about your movie. If you got people so mad they're going to other strangers, like, do not go see Zardoz. Crazy.
Wow.
It did make its money back, though. They only asked for like $1 million something. It was $1.5 million to make. It made 1.8.
Okay.
So it made a little bit back.
It wasn't life destroying.
There is a Blu-ray of Zardoz that exists.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Went from VHS to Blu-ray. So they missed the DVD thing, but if you do want to watch it in Blu-ray, Rocco, you can.
I'm always fascinated by movies that skip a format. Night of the Creeps was the same. Couldn't get it. You could not get that on DVD. And then it's, here's a Blu-ray. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, well, I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about Zardoz, or are we Zardozed out?
Yeah. What else is there to say about it? But to go back to what we were talking about earlier, I do see why it's a cult thing because, again, if it's just bad, it's one-dimensional. Manos, The Hands of Fate, one of the worst movies ever made. They did it on Mystery Science Theater. When they do screenings of that, you're just going in to laugh at it.
Right. And
that's it. But how much more is there to it? This, again, there's world building here. I'm not saying it's all executed good, but there is an attempt. And there is a mythology to this.
Yeah, I mean,
there's something here. There's a sci-fi movie here.
I do feel like there are Matrix elements in this.
Yeah.
There are Hunger Game elements in this.
100%.
And those are gigantic franchises.
Yeah.
And if you told me, oh yeah, that parts of this were inspired by Zardoz, I would believe you.
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah, you're right. There is something to that.
Yeah.
It just... Wow, what a fucking fuck up this movie was.
Yeah, they bungle. There's no tangible. There's no recipe here that tastes good to anybody. But the ingredients are so much fun. I really think that.
Yeah, I think that there is something here. But again, I think the fact that John Berman had complete control over every single thing was a detriment to the movie.
Yeah. This, but I'm gonna speak to both sides of that. This movie reeks of, damn, you needed someone to say no. You needed someone in there to tell you, hey, that's not good. Yeah. Don't do that. However, I really will maintain there's something refreshing watching something like this that is so unabashedly no notes. Like, not no notes from me. Like, I got some fucking notes. I
got a note or two.
But you know what I mean? Where it's like, damn, someone wasn't given any. He did it. There is something kind of feels good to me watching something like that. Even if it fails like that, you know what I mean? I kind of like that. The floating head at the beginning. No executive should have allowed that. I mean, it looked like a school play. It looked stupid, but there's something that kind of juices me to watch that. I'm kind of like,
this
oh man,
gives
we are
me the
in for
same
something.
vibe though as Babylon when we watched that, where it's like you had too much power, and you thought you had it all figured out, but you don't.
But I will say, and I actually liked Babylon more than you guys did.
Yeah.
I acknowledge what you said, but I kind of thought there was something fascinating about it personally. Not gonna recommend that to everyone, but there's more for me to return to here, believe it or not, because it is such an out there movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If we're having a thing at my house, you want to put a movie on? This is kind of a fun movie to put on.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah.
Like I'll return to this, and it's still kind of satisfying. It still kind of scratches the sci-fi itch. There's some sci-fi concepts going wild here. So I have a lot of. I have a lot of compliments for a bad movie here.
That seems fair. Well, do you want to do shakers? What are we going to give this?
It's so hard to give it a number score because if I give it a low one, I'm kind of not acknowledging all those things that I actually felt really energized about, Mm-hmm. But if I give it a high score, it's like you're saying that's a great movie,
right? So
it's really hard for me to. It's very hard for me to give it a number score. I'm gonna like if I say it's gonna sound crazy, but if I say 4,
that sounds great.
It sounds like fucking Zardoz is a 4, but I got that much enjoyment out of it. I really did, personally. And there's so many wacko effects in it that, you know what I mean? That this is my kind of shit I love to put on. So I want to give it that. But, a 4 movie, you're going to get the same score as fucking like Shawshank or so. Well, no, I'm not saying that. So, but I think I might give it like a 3.5.
Wow.
Because I really enjoyed it so much. And seeing it in a theater was a fucking blast.
I think that helped your score.
Oh, it was such a fun night seeing this movie.
Wow.
So I'll give it. I guess I'll stay there.
As I've already said, for me, there are definitely creativity points. You get some points here.
Yeah.
This movie is terrible, but everyone knows it's terrible.
Yeah.
That's not like, I don't think that's up for debate. I think this is kind of a fact that Zardoz is a bad movie.
Yeah. If I rank it high, it's not because I disagree with that.
Yeah. But I feel like there are times we've watched bad movies.
Yeah.
There's one particular that I remember, like, I would recommend this so highly for a bad movie night. Which
Princess Bride.
No, fuck you.
I'm sorry.
What was it? What was that movie that we watched that it was like,
yeah,
this movie sucks, but I have to recommend it to everyone because it's so bad.
Fuck, yeah, I know. What was it?
I don't know, but it was a movie club movie.
We've had that discussion, though.
I'm going to look at the list later, and I'll figure it out. But if people said, hey, I'm looking for a bad movie to watch, like you said, at a party, throw this on because this is a bad fucking movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 1.5, and I feel like that's pretty generous, honestly. But there are unique elements to this, and it is fun to laugh at.
Yeah.
But Jesus.
I will argue, I think that's too low.
Ooh.
That's because 1 to me is, fuck off.
I did say that several times.
2, it's like, I'll give it some points because you did this and this and this. So to me, you should be giving it a 2. But that's my 2 cents.
To me,
I would
you should be giving it 1.5.
I could hear that. I could hear that too. But from my perspective, I could never give something as creative and even a miss. I could never give that a in the 1 range. I couldn't do that.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. I'll be able to sleep tonight just fine. Giving this.
But I hear you. But I'm giving my perspective on that.
Yeah. Keep in mind though, I gave Home Alone 2 a 0, and I stand by that. So that's
no, that was ridiculous.
No, I stand by it. Anyways, okay, we watched this sci-fi movie. I'm going to watch another sci-fi movie next week that I have never seen, but I think I'm the last person on earth to have never seen this movie, and I want to change that. We're going to watch The Fifth Element starring Bruce Willis.
Yeah, I hadn't, to be honest, seen this either until like the last year.
I've seen, again, this is one of those movies you see a Blockbuster 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Never watched it.
Yeah.
And I've seen, I think I've seen the common, like what she wears. I've seen that. I've seen Gary Oldman. I know parts of it. I have no idea what it's about, though. So let's watch The Fifth Element and see what the fuck is this movie about. And come back. Thank you for subbing to Patreon.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time on Movie Club with The Fifth Element.
Remember, please don't forget the penis is evil.
Thank you and good night.